Hey, boys and girls. All right, so today what we're going to do is we are going to continue um, our lessons on adding three-digit numbers. We're going to keep on using our concrete models. Well, in our um, situation, we're having to use drawing since we're not at school, and also using different strategies based on place value. So today specifically, we are going to use the strategy partial sums. Whenever we were working with double digit numbers, we touched briefly on partial sums, but an easy way to help you remember what partial sums are, it's basically just working with expanded form. You guys did really, really well with the expanded form, so partial sums should be very, very easy for you guys, okay? So what we're going to do to get started is I want to look at a question with you guys, and we're going to work through it together. That way you understand exactly what partial sums are. Before we get started with that question, let's break down the words partial sum. So when you think of partial, what does partial mean? Okay, so partial means part, right? It's not the total, it's not a whole thing, it's actually just part of something. So when we work with partial sums, we're just working with part of the sum. We're not to the whole sum yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this question that I've written down for you guys. We're going to work through it, and then we will watch our visual learning video and go through that together as well. Okay, so let me get you turned around. So I know that's a little hard to see because I tried to write the problem out for you, but it says Oak School has 256 students. Pine School has 371 students. How many students do the schools have in all? And if you need to see these numbers a little bit better, if you open up your workbook to page 445, this is where I pulled this problem from. So you could just open your workbook if you wanted to and look at page 445. And that's where I got this question from, and you can just work through it with me if you wanted to. If not, that's fine. You can just watch me work through it, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw my place value chart because, like I said, we're using our picture models to work through adding these three-digit numbers together. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's draw our place value chart. All right, we have our hundreds place, our tens place, and our ones place. Excuse me. So the first number we're going to draw is our 256, right? Because if we're trying to find how many students do the schools have in all, we're going to have to add the students from Oak School and the students from Pine School. So let's go ahead and draw our 256 in our place value chart. So I need 200 flats. Five 10 sticks. And 6 ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now that I've got my number for 256, let's go ahead and put in the same place value chart. We're going to draw our 371 because that's how many students were at the Pine School. So let's draw 100, 200, and let's try to make it fit 300. Okay, and then the number was 371, so we need to draw 7 10 sticks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we have just 1 in the ones place of 371. So let's go ahead and draw just our 1. All right, so you guys know that I always want you to start in what place? Okay, you need to always start in your ones place, just in case you have to regroup, right? But with partial sums, we don't necessarily have to regroup. With partial sums, you just basically write down the total value in that spot. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me get a different. So we have 7 ones. Can y'all see that? All right, so 7 ones. And then when we add up our tens, we're actually going to count them by what they're worth, right? So each stick is worth 10. So let's count together. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120. So the total value of our 10 sticks is 120. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing when we look at our hundreds. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 hundreds. So you're going to go ahead and write your 500. Now, this is where you're going to use your partial sum strategy. So we have looked at each place value and we added up the total value of each place value. And now what we're going to do is write an equation using these partial sums to find our total sum. Okay, so the way we would do that is we would write 500. Okay, we got to take our hundreds. We would do 500 plus our tens, which totaled up to be 120, and then our 7. The main thing you want to pay attention to whenever you use the partial sum strategy is that you are lining up your place value, okay? If you have to draw your lines, that's fine. But you want to make sure that you're lining up your place value where it needs to be. So we have 0 plus 0 plus 7 would give us what? Okay, gives us 7. Then you have 0 plus 2, which gives us 2. And then you have 5 plus 1, which will give us 6. So the total sum, or the final sum of 256 plus 371 is 627. Okay, that's how you use the partial sum strategy. All right, and the other day, last week, one day, when we were working with expanded form, we did this same thing where we just added up the total value of your tens and we kept that number rather than regrouping, right? So it's the same thing that we were working with the other day when we were learning about expanded form. Okay, it's just another way to show 627, correct? All right, so now that we have worked through that one problem, I'm going to go ahead and start your visual learning video. We're going to work through that together. And if you have any questions, remember you can post within our Google Classroom, or you can make a comment on your individual assignment over in the private comments, and I'll get back to you as soon as I see your comment. Okay, let's go ahead and start your video. Well, if I can get to the play button. Here we go.
Find 372 plus 145. You can draw place value blocks to show the add-ins. 372 is 3 hundreds, 7 tens, and 2 ones. 145 is 100, 4 tens, and 5 ones. Join the hundreds, tens, and ones.
Okay, so when we do this, well, let's go ahead and try it, and I'll talk through as we try it, okay? So looking over here, well, it's going to be hard to see the hundreds place, isn't it? All right, let's see. Yes, we want to start it over. All right, so when you look over here, let me see if I can get it to do something to where you can see it better. I don't think it's going to show us. Okay, well, you'll just follow along closely and you'll be able to see it, okay? So whenever we are making our 372, you know that you have 1, 2, and 300. Now let's add our 7 tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now our 2 ones in the 372. Okay. Now let's put in our number 145. So we're going to add our 1 over here. And down here, you can't see it because my little bubble is in the way. But if you look down here, if you were able to see it, you would see that it has 400. Okay. It would have 400 in this green box. And now watch the tens place value change. Right now we have 7 tens, which is the same as 70. But whenever we add the 4 out of 145, the 4 tens, it's going to go up, and it's even going to pass up 100. See, now that we have 100, we have 10 tens, and 10 tens make 100, right? 10 groups of 10 is 100. So instead of regrouping, we're just going to keep on adding, right? Because there are 4 tens in 145, which gives us a total value. If we have 11 tens, it's going to give us a total value of 110 in the tens place. And now we're going to finish up by adding our 5 ones. Which is going to give us a total value of 7 in the ones place. So if we were to write an equation using the partial sums, we would have 400 plus 110 plus 7, which would give us a total sum of 517.
3 hundreds plus 100 equals 4 hundreds, or 400. 7 tens plus 4 tens equals 11 tens, or 110. 2 ones plus 5 ones equals 7 ones, or 7. The partial sums are 400, 110, and 7. Add the partial sums to get the final sum. What is the sum?
Select your answer.
All right, so when you look at your ones place, we have 0 plus 0 plus 7, which would give us a 7 here in the ones place. And then you have 0 plus 1 in your tens place, which would give us a 1 in our final sum, in our final sums 10 place. And then you would add your hundreds. 4 plus 1 would give us 5. So we should be picking 517.
5 hundreds, 110, and 7 ones is 517.